Okay, so here we are, end of session 1. Siren and I wanted to sit down and talk about what just happened, what we saw, what our thoughts are. This is the end of the first Life Series episode, and there was a lot that happened. I think first death, probably within like 2 minutes of starting.
It was within like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It was quick.
So, Quoth, who started on yellow, everybody breaks, and I think I was watching Toy at the time, and they were close enough that I heard the creeper hiss, and then the explosion, and then saw the message. So what were you doing when Quoth died?
Already?
Honestly, I don't know. I think I was just kind of jumping around between people. I'm pretty sure I was on maybe Tiger and Owl.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even realize until I rolled back over here and saw Quoth running away on red. And I was like, wait a second. What the fuck happened here?
Yeah. And Quoth refused another life.
Yeah, he said, no, I'm good. And we were discussing this, as we were watching everybody play, but truly, if there's one person who can stay on red and still win it, it's probably Quoth.
I'm very interested to see what's going to happen, because, I mean, I guess we can just keep talking about Quoth. As we were bouncing around through players, at one point you said to me, I think Quoth is going to kill Owl. Now,
yeah.
Break down the situation that you saw when you made that announcement.
So I saw at one point, I was just flicking through, and I saw Quoth was in the mines with a strip mine that had like some plants in the ground, and I was like, okay, cool. Quoth is, becoming a tunnel rat, sure. And then as I'm flipping through, I go to Owl again, and I see in the background that same strip mine with the plants. So I'm like, okay, I need to take a closer look at this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the little crops.
I'm
anybody there?
Flipping back and forth, and then I see Quoth tunneling parallel to Owl and sneaking. So I'm like, oh, he's going in for the kill. Because Quoth is red, Owl has 4 or 5 lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching, and she hears blocks breaking, but he's still, crouching. And then he comes upon her. He tunnels in right next to her. He throws a piece of steak at her feet and then leaves.
Oh, what was that?
Yeah, I was watching. I was ready to record, expecting Quoth, and he switched to his sword at one point, and I was like, oh, he's just not going to say anything. He's just going to murder her.
Oh,
and then steak down, and he's just like, see ya. And just leaves. And just nothing. I was blown. I thought for sure. I was like, Quoth is going to, maybe he's checking the tab list real quick and sees, oh, she's at 5. We only had 3 players at 5, and everybody else was 4 or less. Like, maybe this is just gonna level the playing field a little bit. But then he just walks away. And I don't know. And we also saw Quoth was culling some of the wildlife.
Yeah, he was just murdering cows and sheep and chickens and leaving the meat behind.
Yeah. So we're like, is this a strategy that Quoth is just like, well, I'm going to make sure that I have food, but everything that I find, we're getting rid of for everybody else? Is that like a viable strategy? And I don't know. I mean, I guess we're going to be posting this after the series is over. So by the time this airs, we're going to have answers. Let's see what else happened. What were our big team ups? We have the Hooligans. Yep. So that's Fiber, DJ Barry, and Gaming with Toyman.
Pretty predictable group up, although they weren't originally together.
Yep.
They kind of came upon each other and stuck together.
We saw Fiber started off on their own, and then when that moment where I cut to him and he was in the mine shaft above the deep dark. And then all of a sudden, Toyman is coming through the wall, and Barry's dropping down from. It's like all three of them just got sucked together by some
Yeah.
weird
Fate
magnetic
pulled them
force.
together.
Tiger and Owl started off together.
And then they lost each
And
other.
then they lost
have
each
not
other.
found each other again.
Yep. Who else? So we had Paz and Gadget.
Toy and Justice.
Yep.
Just a Human. They were together pretty much from the start, and they were together along with somebody else at the end there. No? No, it was just Justice.
It was the two of them. Because they were in the Nether.
Yeah. They were in the Nether together, which we can turn back to. Gadget and Taz are together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep, and they've started setting up a nice little base, which base is very surprising. None of the team-ups really had bases until like the last 30 minutes. Maybe. Yeah. So no place to like fall back to or start setting up farms. We saw more farming in the last 30 minutes than the entire session.
Yeah.
And people were starting to realize.
Based on my experience with how these kind of go, the first 2 sessions will probably have a lot of deaths as people are in the early game where dying is much easier to come upon. We are on hard mode.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep that in mind. But then as people get geared up, the deaths kind of stall unless, of course, there's a boogie or someone on red who is here to make things a little bit more interesting. Now, we already have somebody on red.
Yes.
So how that's going to affect the death count for the first few sessions, I can't say. But I do think this will probably, even though these are only 2-hour sessions, I don't know how long the series is gonna last.
Yeah. Speaking of reds, we actually at one point did have 2 reds.
Yes. Knockout just got KO'd by a Enderman and a Creeper and a Skeleton, like back to back to back. And Knockout was actually one of the rolled boogies at the start, which we should circle back to talking about the boogie kills.
Yeah.
But when he dipped down to red, he got cured. And we don't punish you if you are then given a life to go and, commit a crime.
Yeah.
But he was gifted a life after he turned down to red for some reason.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Possibly
if that was just
out of fear,
garner favor with the red, or maybe it was people just felt it was too early to have reds. Session 1 red players. But the boogie kills, back to that.
yeah.
First session we had 3,
which is crazy. I'm checking the plugin. It says max boogeymen, not number of boogeymen that there's going to be. So we had 3. Our 3 were 2 of the hooligans and Knockout.
Yep. So DJ Barry was the first one that became apparent.
When he immediately murdered Tiger.
Yep. And I remember I was looking at that group. DJ Barry was up above Tiger and Owl, and Toyman was way down below in some caves. And I guess like everybody was kind of on edge because DJ Barry was slow to be like, oh, I'm not a boogeyman. And he just dropped like the 6 blocks down, came down the side of the mountain, and dug a hole into the little hidey hole that Owl and Tiger were in, and just murdered her.
Swinging.
Yep. And I don't think Tiger was even in any armor, and he just
no. Tiger's still not in any armor.
Yeah. People are playing it safe. They're worried about the nighttime, which is understandable when a lot of people are just out exploring. They're just out trying to find stuff. Um, Tiger at the end was trying to find animals, but didn't want to go hunt for them at night, which makes sense because the passive mobs don't spawn at night. Oh, so there was a lot. What else did we have happen? The trip to the Nether was unexpected. Session 1, I didn't expect to see people in the Nether.
Yeah, me neither. But they did. Hoy and Just a Human both went to the Nether. Neither died,
Yeah, surprising.
but while they were in the Nether, Hoy probably stole the enchanter like as soon as grace period was over. He like looped back and was like, yoink.
Yeah, most likely. And then he put it up on top of their giant mountain peak. So I don't even know which one it is. I'm looking around here. Yep, same thought process.
Yep. Oh, it's way over there. It's barely on the horizon.
Yeah, way. It's that one right there. You can kind of see.
Yeah.
But I don't mind saying where bases are because this will be after the series. Yes, we're fine. A fantastic base location, but it is very visible.
I do think one of them will probably die by falling off the mountain at some point.
Oh yeah, there is. And I believe that there's like a dripstone cave straight down off of that edge. So it's not just to the ground, it's even further.
Yeah. So they put the enchanter up there, and then as they were in the Nether, the hooligans sent one of their own over to steal the enchanter back. And then they trolled and put it in the jungle temple, which is hilarious.
Yes. So I'm wondering.
We'll need to keep an eye on that because if it's at the same place at the end of next session, we'll put it back at spawn.
That's okay. Good. Great plan. What else did we have happen? Some of the hooligans went into the Nether with right after Just a Human opened. I think it was Barry was the first one in.
Attack him.
And immediately hoglin. And they were able to kind of kite the hoglin around, and the other guys killed it. But then the piglins were like, hey, my guys, no gold armor, who dis? And whacked the shit out of DJ Barry, and he immediately took off back for the portal.
Yeah, the first few seconds of the Nether was chaos and hilarious.
Let's go.
Oh, it was good. Very good. We've had some... Oh, speaking of the hooligans, they found the Deep Dark at one point. And
They did not, however, find the ancient city.
Yes. They did find some Shriekers, and I don't know if they were just unlucky or if they were trying to see how many times they could set Shriekers off before they got wardened, but it was close. There were a couple moments where I was like, this is how they die. This is...
Yeah.
We did have a bed, session 1. We actually talked about this right near the break, that no one had made beds yet. And while it won't sleep through the night, being able to respawn back at a base... but then we kind of got into the whole nobody had bases yet. So
yeah,
as people I think are starting to get places established, places where they can drop off all their random stuff, we're going to see a couple more beds. Probably no bed from Quoth.
No, I wouldn't expect it. He's probably, if he even picked up the wool, it's been thrown down on the ground.
Yeah.
Despawned by now.
I'm very curious.
I don't know if anybody has sugarcane.
Yeah, so we being you, strategically placed sugarcane around the map. It's not super hidden. It's just kind of out of the way because, as you saw, there's a lot of mountains here, and this isn't a plains river type setup. The terrain is also a challenge. But there is sugarcane. Now, some people I know are going out of their way to kill creepers, which is a very smart thing to do. You get the gunpowder. If you can find the sugarcane,
Yes, sugarcane is important for making paper, for making TNT with the tweaked recipe that we have, which
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
it's I think 4 pieces of paper, 4 pieces of sand, and 1 piece of gunpowder, as opposed to 4 gunpowder and 5 sand, or 5 gunpowder and 4 sand, whichever the
Yeah.
original is. Basically, it makes it a lot more viable to make TNT for the explosives.
Yep.
There isn't a ton of sand on this map, but there is some.
Yep. I noticed that. So that's another
Um,
challenge.
yeah, that will be another challenge. Maybe towards the end we might tip the scale by spawning in some more sand.
Yep. Yep. Maybe a couple little fun things we can do. We got some ideas.
We got some ideas. But I don't think anybody has sugarcane, and if they do, they've picked it up from a chest and not from, because I did put some sugarcane, turtle eggs, tadpoles,
Mm-hmm.
even a couple pieces of netherite scrap in some of the chests in the overworld.
Ooh.
I think I put enough in all of the chests together to make 1 piece of netherite,
Good. Good.
which is
Very
not
nice.
much,
No.
but I wanted there to be a viable option to that, other than go strip mine in the nether for 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Who does that?
Yeah, when that's all the 2 hours you have.
Yeah. But it kind of feels like we ended session, and I think that Just a Human and Hoy had just gotten back to the overworld.
Yeah.
There was a minute where I didn't think they were going to make it back out of the nether because they were just in Netherrack, just
Yeah.
digging. Right now, I think that everybody's in fairly good places. Most recent death, Tiger just died to a skeleton that was stalking her. And I believe, oh, I didn't take a look at what the life counts were at the end, but we're finishing session 1 with just the single red. I believe 1 yellow.
2 yellows, I think. I think Hoy is yellow, and yeah, Hoy and Knockout are yellow. Oh, and
Okay.
so is Taz, so 3 yellows.
3 yellows. Okay. And we've got people setting up bases. We've got some groups formed. If you had to guess right now, what's your prediction? And we'll do one at the end of every session. Who is going to win this?
I've got a feeling about Knockout.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I think it's going to be Just a Human.
Yeah?
I was watching, like, they're very good at the vanilla game. Um, they are very efficient in the way that they're playing. It's very speedrunner esque, and they are not wasting any
Yeah.
time to get stuff set up, to get to the places they need to. They immediately got some gold, bartered for fire resistance, went to get blaze rods. Like, they're getting through it quick.
Yeah.
So if the terrain doesn't kill them, I think they're coming out with the W. We'll see what happens next session, though.
We will see what happens next session. But I think that's about everything for
Yeah.
Postmortem. I'm excited to see next session who our boogies are, what the boogie kills are, what happens with the enchanter, and will Knockout, who was dancing around the edge of an ancient city for the last hour of the game,
Mm-hmm.
finally enter said ancient city. Find out next week for Last Life Millennium Postmortem.
Yeah.